Hi, I thought I would show you how to make some t-shirt ropes. These are braided ropes where you use your old t-shirts, you cut your t-shirts and create yarn, t-shirt yarn to use. You could use any of the Red Heart, that fettuccine. This is t-shirt yarn. It's a great choice to use. Generally what I would do with it is most likely I would probably use 2 strands, although 1 strand is probably plenty big enough. I think these are cut about 1.5 inches. No, these are cut 1 inch. So I would probably use 2 strands of each color. You're going to need 3 colors of t-shirt, or 2 in 1, you know, however you want to do it. The 3 colors makes it easier. It makes it a lot brighter for the kids, a lot more fun. Don't be afraid of using white in there, and try to use up the whole scrap of the t-shirt. I do tell you when we start out different ways to do that. You can use bull clips to hold your strands together when you get started. And you can actually braid it, you know, holding it and braid it this way. I prefer to put it over a table. It makes it a little bit easier. Or even on, I have one of those workbenches from Harbor Freight that opens up that I use for my adding machine and my Centro machine. So many times I will clip it to that. So it's easier for me to just hold and braid while I'm going along. You can do them as tight or as loose as you want. I do a combination of kind of a both loose and tight. They all work out the same. Of course, the tighter you do, the better the rope, but of course you'll need longer strips. The general rule of thumb is to use 9 feet to make a jump rope for the children. I have used 10, 12, 15, 16. I've used different lengths so that there are different lengths of rope there. Some of the older kids like to jump rope as well, so I do a little taller rope for that. And of course, if you make them really long, they could use it for some of those jump rope competitions. You know, you've seen the ones where the kids are jumping in and out of the rope where 2 people are holding the ends. They could do that as well. But this is a great project to keep things out of the landfill. Whether you realize it or not, if things are not selling well at Goodwill, they will throw them out and place them in the dumpsters. So, yeah, it's just a good way to keep some more things out of the landfill to recycle, reuse. Plus, it does some good and it makes a child happy. All right, guys, let's get into the tutorial. Hi, it's Jane. Now, today I'm going to show you how to cut t-shirts for t-shirt yarn. But these are also what you can use to make the braided ropes for Operation Christmas Child box. So what you're going to need are some t-shirts, preferably all cotton. You can have some, like this one is an old one of mine that's kind of stained up. And it can have a print on it. Sometimes the print doesn't stretch well, but they can be used. You can use any kind of t-shirt. Now these have seams along the side. So when you use the ones that have seams on the sides, sometimes that causes a little bump in the jump rope when you're actually doing the braiding. But generally, I haven't seen that big a deal with it. Preferably you want some t-shirts that do not have seams on the side. They're just that one piece that goes all the way around. And you're going to need a bull clip or a over-the-door hook, and I'll show you why when we get to braiding it, and some rubber bands. You'll need scissors if you want to use just scissors. You can use a rotary cutter along with a ruler, but you don't have to. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to put you down onto the mat. You can set aside your rubber bands, your bull clip, and your, if you're using a over-the-door hanger, you can set that aside as well. What we're going to do is, and I get a lot of my t-shirts at Goodwill, especially when they do that 39 cents on Sundays and Mondays. So generally that's what I do. Now you can fold it in half if you want, or you could leave it straight like this for this first part. But what you're first going to do is you're going to line up your bottom hem as well as possible. And you're going to cut off that bottom hem. However you choose to do it. Scissors, rotary, whatever. You want to get that fully cut off. In this project, you'll see there are many uses for all the leftovers. Don't throw this away. You can use this to tie your ropes together. In fact, it'll tie 2 ropes together. Next, you want to move it up. And you want to cut off right here at your underarm seams. You want to cut across straight as much as possible. Now, don't throw away this top part. You can use it for a lot of things. You can make Barbie doll dresses out of it. You can take the sleeves off and make a pouch for marbles to go in. You could cut circles out of the top to use it for pouches when you're making your hacky sacks. You know, do it sort of like a yo-yo. Cut a big circle. Do a running stitch around it. Put your beads in the center. Pull it up tight. Sew it closed. And then you've got a pouch for your hacky sacks if you're using pony beads or poly beads. This top part can also, you can take material, sew it to the bottom, create a sort of a t-shirt dress with it. For a young girl, if it happens to be the correct size. There are a lot of ways you can reuse all of these parts. So consider being a little constructive with your thinking about how you're going to do that. Now you want to straighten this out as much as possible. So you get out some of those folds. And then you're basically going to bring this front half to about 2 inches below the other side. Now from here, you want to cut 1.5 inches to 2-inch strips. So we're basically going to just start. You're going to cut through this first section, but not through this end piece here. And you're just going to do that all the way across. Now I'm going to use the rubber cutter for the rest of these so that you can see how that works. And this, I can measure that 1.5 to 2 inches as I choose. And then I just make sure that it's cut all the way through before I move on to the next section. And as you can see, a rotary cutter is going to make it go a little faster. So those of you that sew, it'll be a great tool to use for this project. You can continue to do it with the scissors. It's no big deal. It's just my scissors happen to have that little, let's go ahead and do it this way. These don't have that little catch there. Either way works fine. Do as your heart moves you to use. These are fun items to make. It's a great thing to do while you're watching TV. For those of you that watch TV, watch YouTube videos, or like I do, lots of times I listen to the YouTube videos, especially lives. I don't always watch. Lots of times I'll just listen. And yeah, these scissors need to be sharpened. Not so sure I can get another cut out of that, so I'm just going to leave that. Now, you want to bring these tails down, and there are two ways you can do this. You can actually take and open this up. You see me fighting with it. So you have that one side that you did not cut through on your arm, or you can lay it flat, whichever you choose to do, but you're basically going to start by cutting it diagonally this way, and then from this corner to the next, where you've got your slit, and you'll just continue that all the way across, all the way down. And there's no rhyme or reason, doesn't have to be perfection. Because when we stretch this out, it's going to, you'll see how it will work. And you do have to stretch the yarn out. Well, I say yarn. The t-shirt yarn that you're creating, you are going to have to stretch that out. Oops. Got a little close there. To your last one. Now, with this yarn, what you're going to do is to start by pulling it as far as you can, all the way down. You want to stretch it. Okay? And this is what creates your yarn. Don't be afraid to stretch it. Just pull as hard as you can. What you'll see is it's going to curl up on itself, and that's what you want to happen. Now, I have seen a lot of people roll these up, but I don't roll these up, and there's a reason I don't. Initially, is because you want, traditionally you want a about a 9-foot length of rope. So I'm going to cut the rest of these, and then I will show you how I do these. So it's a little bitty, well actually I'll show you with this one. This is where your rubber band's going to come in. And you can use this when you're braiding as well. what I found works the best is to take this and to just bring it back and forth like this, because it'll help when you're braiding as well. You can make them larger than what I'm making. And you just do that for the whole length of your fabric that you have cut and turned into T-shirt yarn. And once you've finished that, you'll take your rubber band and you'll just place it around the entire thing like this. And then it's ready for you to also start braiding if you choose to. I'm going to finish doing this off camera and then I will join you once I've got these other shirts cut and ready to go. And we'll start a braiding process. Okay. Now, many of you will remember a couple of years ago when Lion Brand had these rolls of T-shirt yarn. Yes, you can use those, and I'm going to use this color because both of my whites are too white, so I'm going to use a white strand of this and a strand of that blue, and yeah, I'm kind of going to go from there. Now, once you've stretched your yarn out, you want to take your 3 colors. You want to lay them together, and you actually want to just do an overhand knot. This way. Just an overhand knot, very simple. And then you can start braiding. Now, as you can see, mine are still stretched out all over the place, so I need to actually do what I had told you I was going to do earlier, and that's basically wind my yarn up in a sense. You could do a center pull ball if you want, but I think the yarn works okay this way. And then I'm going to put my rubber band around it just to hold it loosely. I'm going to do that with all 3 of these before I start braiding. And the reason I do this is because it's easier once you start doing your braiding. If you need to, you can just pull a little bit out of that rubber band. You don't have to undo it. You don't have to untie it. It's just pretty easy to do. Just to pull more out from here. And surprisingly, these hold up really well. I have been told that they last many years. So, you know, it's a good idea to consider using them that way. Now, I am using an over-the-door hook here because my bull clip will not fit on my table. If you have a table that's easier to do, you could certainly do that. Generally, I'll just place that over that, and then I will start doing my braiding. And you know, the braiding is one of those simple things. It's just over, over, over. You do want to get it kind of tight up there at the very top. That way it'll come out fine. But yeah, it's just simple braiding. If you have someone else that can help you, that can hold it while you're braiding, that works well too. Since I do not, I use my doorknob. I use my door hook as a way to hold my yarn. And I will just continue to braid over and over. You can do it holding it up. I've seen a lot of people do it that way. I just choose not to. Now I'm going to show you on this one where we're ready to bring a little more yarn out. And so the easiest thing to do is to just pull more strand out. Like that. That I found is the easiest way to do this for me. But like I said, if you have someone that can help hold it, clip it to a table, clip it to a clipboard. I've seen a lot of people do that to make their braided rugs. I mean, their braided ropes. You know, the idea is just have a little fun with it. If you do a lot of these, you get used to doing it by holding it up in your hand and kind of doing this funny little twist. I get into that rhythm a little later, but because I'm not into that rhythm, I haven't done any probably in the last month. And it's just like anything. You got to get back into the rhythm of it. You know, same thing with knitting and crochet. Sometimes we got to get back into the rhythm. Sometimes takes a little longer than normal for some of us, me included. And you can braid these as tight as you want to or as loose as you want to. They all work out fine. Now this is where I've got one of those spots where there's a seam on this one. So generally I try to fold that in under so it'll try to stay within that rope section. But yeah, that's all there is to it. And then when you get to your end, you will simply tie off the other end. That's the end of your rope. 9 feet is a good suggestion for most kids. You can do one longer if you choose to. One longer could be used for, you know, like a jump rope competition. You know how kids get when they do things like that. So that might be something that you want to consider doing a longer rope. But 9 feet is, you know, that measurement from your chest, middle of your chest, to the tip of your fingers. I have a girlfriend that's pretty tall. She's not quite 6 feet tall. She said, "You don't want me to use that to measure." I'm like, sure, you could use your measurement too, because that'll give kids a little longer jump rope. Maybe the bigger kids would enjoy that. But that's all there is to this. And then I'm going to cut you off here, and I'm going to go ahead and finish braiding mine, and then I'll tie off the end with you. And then I will show you how I use these extra, the bottom that we've cut off the hem to tie these bracelets, to tie these ropes up. Okay, I've reached the end, so I'm actually just going to trim this excess off. So they're even. I'm going to tie a knot into this end. And there you have it. You have a braided rope. Now these, like I said, they're really good for kids, smaller kids, but they can also be used for the bigger kids. Don't look at how short they are or how long they are. You can simply fold them in on themselves. Then take, and I just take partial. Don't always take a full one. Generally, I'll just tie it in a nice little bow around that extra seam, you know, the hem that we've tied off, and there you've got a nice little rope. You can use different lengths. You can use 9 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet. And don't throw away your extras, because with these extras, you can often join them together by simply taking the rest of it and about maybe 1.5 inches down, cutting a slit in one. Cutting a slit in the other side. And then you simply take and you feed your place the 2 slits on each other. Bring one through both of those slits and make my slit very big on this one. But then through this as well. Pull it tight, and then you have another strand that you can work with. So that is one way to use up your t-shirts, old t-shirts, stained t-shirts. Don't worry about the stains. A lot of those stains do not show up at all. If you have some of this t-shirt yarn, like I've got quite a bit, and when we do our craft night, I am just going to take these up so that folks can use them straight up, so they can use that to build their ropes. It's an easy way to get rid of a lot of this yarn. You could even do 2 strands of each color to make it a much thicker rope if you choose to. But these are perfectly adequate ropes. And if you're unsure if they are a good choice for your child or for Operation Christmas Child, give it to a child and let them jump rope with it. There are quite a few videos on Samaritan's Purse where many kids have taken these ropes and they do jump rope little competitions with them. So it's just a great little tool to use, great way to use up those old t-shirts. Get them out of your house instead of just taking them over to Goodwill. Now, I don't have a whole lot of extra t-shirts, so I go to Goodwill and I shop when they have their 39 cents per item and get quite a few t-shirts, different colors. You know, go to town, make a few jump ropes here and there. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a new way to use up some old things, to recycle some things, and also do some good in this world. All right, guys, see you again soon. Bye.